Howdy, saxophonists. My name is Joey Resendez, and welcome to my home here in Rowlett, Texas. I've been asked to and have meaning to do a tutorial video on these all-region, all-state etudes for saxophone for some years now. I've been doing these since 2011, and a lot of people seem to like these videos that I do. They think they're a big help, and yeah, I've been putting these videos out and showing kind of how they go, but I don't really ever put my saxophone down and kind of show you kind of some tips and not tricks, but some kind of practice tips about these. So that's what I'm going to hope to accomplish here now. And I'll start by saying that I'm kind of going on the assumption that you already have a basic working knowledge of how to produce a good tone on the saxophone, and also you're versed in how to in rhythm, in counting, which is a must. I think once you get at least to high school, which you should be if you're playing these for all region. I know some middle school all regions actually do these for their all region, which is kind of nuts, but. Anyway, etude number 1. Oh, by the way, make sure that we're all playing out of the Ferling book. I know there's a new edition that looks a little different than this. This is what mine looks like. So there's that. And also, if you want, and I just highly suggest, you also get the Ferling book that is edited by Marcel Mule, M-U-L-E. If you don't know who that is, stop this video right now and go look him up. Go look up who he was, listen to his recordings, and then pick up your jaw off the ground and go back to practicing. So that book is right here. The cover of mine fell off some years ago, but basically what he did was he edited all of the 48 etudes that are in the Ferling book, added some things, mostly dynamics, and also there are 12 additional etudes at the end, so the total of etudes in this book is actually 60, and they go to some crazy keys that I've never had to play in before, like A flat minor, what is this over here, C flat minor. You'll almost always see that as B major. Anyway, the reason I suggest you getting this book is because a lot of the etudes in the original Ferling book, they don't have a whole lot of dynamics. Like you might have forte and then that's it for the whole etude, which is silly because you don't want to play forte for the whole etude. You want to kind of do something with it. And what Marcel Mule here does is he gives you, kind of an option of what to do in those instances. So, etude number 1. B flat major. This is the first video I've ever made back in 2011. Back then it was taken out of the Rubank Selected Studies book, and this is a little bit different articulation wise actually in measure. Oh, by the way, I'm going to refer to a lot of measure numbers, so if you don't have your measures numbered, pause the video, measure them. It'll take like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then come back to and restart the video. The biggest difference between the Rubank version and this version was measure 14, where you have the descending scale. I think in the Rubank book it's all slurred, where we're here we're not so lucky, we have to do some tonguing. Okay? Starting off, probably one of the biggest things that students have come in and they mess up is they don't know how long this B flat is when at the beginning of the piece. They just come in and they'll go, and they just kind of don't count through it. So what I would do is I would kind of imagine that this piece is starting in the measure with the pickup note. So there's silence. So 1, okay, and that will kind of set you up to play in time for the going forward. So instead of you'll just count through an imaginary bar of rest at the beginning. 1. Okay, and that will set you up going forward. Okay. Always practice with a metronome. I'm going to not be using a metronome right now because I think it'll be annoying with the video and everything, but make sure that you're practicing with a metronome. And if you're just starting this, put your metronome on 8th notes. So, bam, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then once you get that faster, you can move that to 2 beats in a measure, which would be dotted quarter notes. 1, 2, 1. Okay. Evenness is always really important in these etudes. So that's why I highly suggest practicing with that metronome to make sure every note is even. All these 16th notes are even. There's not a whole lot, not a whole lot of articulation in this etude, but when there is some articulation, make sure you bring it out. You want to let the judges know that you're tonguing. So the beginnings of almost every measure, the beginning of it is tongued. So make sure that that comes out. Okay. All right, measure 5. This is where the first Marcel Mule dynamics will take effect. What he has here is he'll put kind of like a subito piano here, starting on the C in measure 5. So he'll crescendo through. We're keeping the forte through measure 4 all the way to the downbeat, and then starting on the 16th notes in measure 5, we come down. Okay, and then each of those little falling 16th note patterns can get a little louder. And then starting here in measure 7, we'll do a big old crescendo into the downbeat of measure 9. Make measure 9 is what I would do. Make measure 9 your kind of your goal. Okay, and then right there is where you're hitting your forte, and you're going to keep that all the way through measure 16, which is kind of like the first, 40% of the etude. Okay, and then going forward through there, through measure 16. Excuse me, got a little spit in my octave key. All right. Measure 14, the one I was talking about earlier, I think, with the articulation. This measure will kind of determine how fast you'll be able to play this etude. I mean, it's silly to play, all this fast stuff, leading up to there, and then getting to measure 14 and then not being able to tongue it. It's kind of funny. So don't be that guy that goes. You don't want to do that, okay? So you can put measure 14 on loop, kind of just when you're practicing. Okay? And just make sure that all those articulations are nice and short, and that's actually short's the wrong word. Separated, bouncy. Don't go for pecky, machine gun type articulation. Use the very tip of your tongue, almost with a D syllable, probably with a D syllable, and that will help the speed. Okay, if you try to go, you're not going to be able to play it as fast as you need to play in the context of the first half. All right, and there's also a debate in this first, well, actually for the whole etude really, which B flat to use, whether you use bis or side B flat. I'm in the camp of, I almost always will use side in the scalar passages, okay? The very first B flat, I'll use bis. And then going through there, almost all of the B flats going through until measure 9 are going to be side for me. All the way through. And then measure 9, I'll flip over to bis. Because it just makes sense. One finger, the skips between the notes is gonna, the bis is gonna make those skips between the notes a lot easier, and not having to deal with a side key. And okay, measure 17. Moving forward, make sure you start this very, very, very soft. I would almost say pianissimo. In the video I recorded, it didn't really come out like that. So that's one thing I would probably change if I were to go back and record it again. So you got that really loud high F in measure 16. Make sure that really contrasts with the E flat in measure 17. Okay, really, really nice, really soft, but not so soft that your tone or the response suffers. Okay. Very, very slight crescendo going into measure 19. And then starting here in measure 21, this is a big crescendo going into the downbeat of measure 23, kind of like we had earlier from 7 to 9. We're going to do the same thing here. Big crescendo going into measure 23. Okay, make that your arrival. And I would suggest doing a side B flat right there in measure 22. Okay. You can do that with the bis B flat. I just think there's a lot of room for blipping to happen if you do that. I mean, I know a lot of people that do that, and I'm not going to say you need to do this. For me personally, it falls a little bit better in my fingers, and I have more confidence that I'm not going to blip there if I do that. Measure 23. Watch out for the slur pattern here. Look if you look at it, it's slur 3, slur 4, slur 5. And we're always going to want to tongue the note that we skip down to, and that's true in these first two. But in that third group, the third slurred group, you got that the F to the B flat that's still slurred. And make sure you tongue the downbeat there in measure 24. And the breath there in measure 24, take it. In the video that I did 5 years ago, I didn't take that breath, and I probably should have. And you can take that breath, and don't think you have to come in immediately in time, because it's impossible to take a breath and then come in on that D and not lose any time. Take that breath, take a good breath, and just come in. So it should sound something like this. Okay, so I don't think anybody's going to fault you for that. Okay, everybody's favorite two measures, measure 25 and measure 26. Some people will say do the whole thing bis, which I wouldn't do for the same reasons I said earlier. What I do here is, okay, you got, in measures 25 and 26, you have 4 groups of 6/16 notes. Each one of those groups, the 2nd, 4th, and 6th note are a B flat. Okay, what I do there is on the 2nd note, on the 1st B flat and the 3rd B flat of each of those groups, I will play bis B flat. In the middle one of each of those, I will play a side B flat. Okay, so it'll look like this. So it's Boom, bis, boom, side, bis, ba, ba, da, bis. I'm sorry. Boom, bis, da, side, bis, boom, ba, da, da, dee, da. Okay? And again, that's what works for me the best. Okay? In measure 26, I'm sorry, measure 27 here with these accents. If you play the articulation as is with the slur 2, slur 2, slur 2, slur 2, the accent should come out a little bit naturally, but it is okay to add a little oomph to the tongue notes. Okay? But don't go overboard, because I think if you try to do that a little too much, your time will suffer. Alright? This is, and again, this is all forte throughout here. Oh, in measure 25, Marcel Mule does do a subito piano here. I forgot about that. So you're going along in measures 23, 24. And then starting right here. And then you'll do a crescendo throughout here. And then you can decrescendo, kind of a drastic decrescendo, going down to that, into measure 31, starting the chromatic scale. So you get a very, very big decrescendo, so you have a lot of room to grow into the chromatic scale, throughout the chromatic scale. Take that breath there, and then go on. Right there, make sure you tongue that grace note and get a good slur into the high D. I would strive to put that high D on the downbeat of that bar, so actually the grace note is part of the previous measure. And make sure you count throughout the start of the eighth note. Sorry. Full value note at the end, just stop it on count 2 of that measure. Okay? It takes a lot of practice to play this one, you know, really, really accurate and really, really consistently. I would suggest kind of knowing what tempo you're gonna want to perform this at. Say you want to perform this etude at dotted quarter note equals 88. Make sure you can play it at about 92. Okay. Because you don't want to perform it at your maximum tempo. You want to be able to play it faster than what you're going to perform it at. That way, when you get to perform it in front of the judges, you're not kind of living on the edge. Okay. So if I were to, if I wanted to perform it at I'd better be able to play, you know, better be able to play it at. Okay, and just so that you're comfortable when you get up there to play. If you do that and you practice it at that faster tempo, when you tone it down for performance, you're gonna find you're much more relaxed and this isn't as bad as I've been doing. This isn't as hard, it's not as fast, and you'll be more comfortable. If you have any questions on this etude, I know I've posted the video already, but you can post questions to this video. You can also send me, I think, messages through YouTube or whatever, and I'll do my best to answer those in a timely manner. Anyway, thanks for watching, and get to practicing, and just know that when you're not practicing, the people that are trying to make region and all state are practicing. So get in that practice room is the moral of what I'm trying to say there. Okay, thanks, bye.